Welcome to our video guide on managing and approving time for students within the time and labor system. This video is intended both for direct supervisors of students, as well as others who may act as backups in approving time. While not required, the supplementary video outlining how students log in and out using a time collection device, or TCD, may help familiarize you with the TCD system. To start approving time, you will need to log in to the My BGSU web portal using your standard BGSU username and password. You can approve time both on and off campus as long as you have an internet connection. Once you've logged in, click on the Employees tab at the top of your page. On the screen that comes up, locate the Approve My Student Hourly Reporters link under the section titled Time and Labor Supervisor. If you are the direct supervisor of students, clicking on this link will take you directly to a list of your students. If you are a backup approver, you will be taken to a search screen. On the search screen, simply clear out the field labeled Supervisor ID and make sure the Group ID field displays the proper code for the group of students you wish to approve time for. If it does not, click on the search option and locate the proper group. Once everything is correct, click Get Employees. This is the screen that you'll see that displays the list of each of your student employees. If you're a supervisor for one group of student employees in your department, but are trying to approve times as a backup to another group, click the Employee Selection Criteria link at the top of your screen to be taken back to the search screen. Again, you'll need to clear the Supervisor ID field and also make sure the Group ID field displays the correct group of students. Before we begin approving time, we need to be sure that we are on the correct pay period. Some default settings can set this date back to the previous week, so it is always important to verify you are on the correct date for the time you wish to approve. We can do this by entering a date in the date box and pressing refresh, or by using the previous and next pay period links. Once you're on the correct date, click on a student's name to administer their time. Once you have selected a student's name, the first screen you will see is a summary of that student's time for the pay period you had selected. We'll see the student's ID number in the top right-hand corner with the record number just below it. The record number is used to identify which job the hours being approved are for when a student has multiple jobs on campus. Below these fields, we have the same date and refresh boxes to jump to a specific date to review. We also have the text lines for both previous and next pay period, as well as new text links to move back and forth between students we are reviewing. The rest of this screen shows the number of hours worked by the student during each of the days in the pay period. This first screen only shows hours for completed shifts. It will not show any hours if the student did not punch out. While we do have a button to approve all these hours at once, it is always important to review the time in more detail before approving it. Never use the Approve All link on this page, and instead always click the text link update/deny/comments in the bottom right. The main body of the page that comes up shows more details about each of the days within the time period. The day and date columns help you identify which date the student worked, and the in and out columns indicate the exact times the student clocked in and out. The punch total shows the exact time of the work shift between those punches. The reported time source indicates if the student clocked in using a standard TCD device or if the time was manually entered by a supervisor. A value of TCD in this column indicates the student clocked in normally. A value of online indicates that the time was either manually entered or altered since the student's last clock in. The Time Collection Device ID displays which TCD device the student used to clock in. Students will only be able to sign in using the TCD machines approved by their group or department. In most cases, this will be a single device in their building. Some departments, however, have many students working in many buildings. It can be extremely important to verify the student clocked in using the TCD device in the location where they were actually working. Some departments may see this Override Rate field. This field will allow you to enter a new pay rate for a single shift for a student. The field will accept any dollar and cents amount between minimum wage and $25. Back on the left side of the page, the status column will display if the time needs to be approved. The untitled column with the speech bubbles allows you to leave comments. Before adding any comments, it's important to understand that these comments are public, so you'll want to keep whatever information you put in them as generic and factual as possible. By clicking on the speech bubble in the row of a particular day, a window will appear for you to add your comment. You can add multiple comments to a single day, with each comment being timestamped for the exact time it was left. Once a comment has been created, the speech bubble on the main page will now contain a hyphen inside of it. Unlike the old system, missing punches will not display in red. Instead, a missing punch will just appear as a blank box. As an approver or a supervisor, you have the ability to add a missing punch or to modify a punch when times need to be changed. You can click the Submit button at the bottom of the screen to save your changes without approving any time. Whenever you make a change to a punch, the student will be emailed to let them know of the change. Whenever you modify a student's time, it's important to include a comment as to why. These comments can help other approvers understand the changes in the time, as well as help you remember in the future why the time was altered. If a student has worked multiple shifts in a single day, a second row will be added for that day. You can add your own second row by clicking the plus button on the far right, or remove a second row by clicking the minus button next to it. Remember to never delete a row with any actual student time on it. Only use the minus button to delete blank rows. Comments are shared per the day, even if there are multiple punches on that day. To approve time, click the checkbox next to each punch that you wish to approve, and then click the Approve Selected button at the bottom. It is important to never deny time. Always settle the disputed time with the student instead, and then modify the punches accordingly. After you click the Approve Time button, you'll be asked to confirm your approval of that time. Once a time has been approved, it cannot be unapproved. You can make changes with the time for 30 days, even after it is approved, but then it will need to be approved again. Either way, once something is approved, the punch's status will change to approved. The last option to consider on this page is the Fund Source View link. This will show you the department paying for the student's time and information on the federal work-study funding for the student. To perform a final check, go to your timesheet summary. Verify again that you are on the proper pay period by using the options at the top. Once you're on the right date, verify the column listed as Hours to be approved is set to 0 for all of your students. This concludes the basic steps for approving time. As a brief summary, first, remember to check students' time each week. Also, add any punches that were manually recorded on paper by the students. Remember to make any corrections to student time before approving it. And finally, remember that all student time must be approved by Monday of each week. To wrap things up, here's some basics to keep in mind. There is a 1-day lag time between loading a student record and the creation of the timesheet within Time and Labor. It takes 5 minutes after punches are made on a TCD device before they show up online. Make sure your students' terminations are kept up to date. You can approve time throughout the week, so monitoring punches each day will help you save time on Monday. Now that you've completed this training, the next step is to fill out your request form for access to the system. The link below will take you to the request form you need to fill out. In addition to the basic information, be sure to copy the information you currently have on your screen to the appropriate section of the form. The second link below will take you to a frequently asked questions page about the system. Thank you for reviewing this training. If you have any additional questions or concerns, please contact one of the following. The Technology Support Center can assist you with hardware issues using the TCDs or accessing the web interface. Student Employment Services can assist you with the status of new hires and rehires within the payroll system. And finally, the Payroll Office can help you with security in the Time and Labor, as well as questions about a student's time card.